So Miss Aisha, in our opinion, you are a great leader and you're running your own organization, and it's really taking off so fast and very well. In your own opinion, what does it take to be a good leader and an entrepreneur?
First off, at the top of my head is any leader has to be action oriented. It's one thing to say we're going to do this, we're going to implement this, and it's another thing to put in the action. And by putting in the action, I don't mean solely, but it done plays to everybody, fitting. Just like puzzles have pieces that come together. So for any business, any organization, there's always everyone that plays a part, just like a puzzle does. And it's the ability to build systems and work together and create impact while delivering professionalism, while being a good communicator. And like I mentioned earlier, one of the things it comes down to is personal leadership. It's still going to come back to you. How do you manage conflict in a workplace? Are you going to, if somebody doesn't do anything right, are you going to fire them? What are some of the key policies we have within an organization? And how do you manage anger, which is very, very, very critical? Because sometimes they say first impression matters. And you see with the team, you're there every single day, you're together. And you cannot keep, unmasking yourself or masking yourself with a character that is not yours. So that's why I say personal leadership is very key. And this comes down to how do you keep things confidential as well? If one of the employees or teammates, shared something with you, and as a leader, because you feel you're a leader, you want to kind of, really put down somebody in a sense of, you're in a meeting and you're like, oh, by the way, somebody shared this with me. So confidentiality is very, very key in any setting, whether it's a home, whether it's a relationship, whether it's friendship. So confidentiality is very key, being action oriented, but also, emulating values that you say you have as a person. Your character is very key. Your timekeeping is very key. I cannot, sum up what would make a good leader, but what I would say is it's very, very important to have an organized self as a leader. Don't be this leader who wakes up one morning and says, oh, you know what? So for the last 2 years or for the last 2 months, we've been doing financial literacy. And now because the global trend is on climate change, we are now switching to climate change. It doesn't work that way. Make sure you're focused. Make sure you're continuously learning as a person. There is no end to learning as a leader. Make sure you're always learning what are the leadership styles. How best do you become an effective communicator? How best do you, don't micromanage as well. Perfectionism will come in sometimes because, either you're the vision bearer and there are certain ways you want certain things. But sometimes, like Nelson Mandela says, it's not impossible until it's done. Give people a chance. Give people, a chance to, display their skill sets. Give them a chance to take on the mantle. And with micromanaging, it feels like you do not believe in the ability your team puts forward. So make sure you're able to distribute roles and not complain. Learn to be appreciative. Once in a while, take your team for team building activities. Get to know each other on a more personal level, but while keeping your professionalism. If you say office time has to start off at 9 a.m. and as a leader, you're coming in at 10 because you feel you're the boss, which is not how it works. And then also make sure you keep your word. If you have communicated anything, stay up to your promises. Do not assume that people don't forget. Do not assume that people forget. Do not assume that people will think, oh, because she's a leader, it's okay not to hold her accountable. Before people hold you accountable, hold yourself accountable on how you're leading people. So I cannot emphasize enough how it's very important to continuously introspect on yourself. Like I said, we are human, we err, we flow, but as a leader, you need to learn how to be as humble as possible. You need to be human, learn how to manage your anger, conflicts, confidentiality, but above all, you need to be action-oriented. If you sit back and say, you know what, I have a team in place, make sure you're also doing the work. Go to the field. Do not just sit in an office with an AC and think that things are going to run themselves. But make sure you're part and parcel of the whole process, and you enjoy doing it.
Thank you for sharing with us or teaching us who is a good leader and an entrepreneur. So, young people out there, learn from this episode, please. This is good information that she's sharing with us. For you to become a good leader, one, she says, don't be that person who is always just using their words. Act upon those words, or act on the things you say with your team. Don't just say this, that, or do this, do that, do this. So please, for you to become a good leader, act on your actions, like she says, and also learn how to keep your employees or any person within your organization, whatever they share with you, please keep it to yourself. It's very important. It's key that you don't just go sharing anything someone shares with you to anyone, or just like that. So please. So Miss Aisha, how does one really